So this is a quick, fun little tutorial on how to get a face onto an apple and to make it look believable, and then to make an even funnier face from that face. So what we're going to do is you're going to download the pictures that I emailed to you and make them saved somewhere where you know where they are. Then you're going to open up Photoshop and go File, Open. And where you found it, open up the Apple photo. And it'll just have one background. Make sure you can see your layers. Then you're going to go and your tools. Tools can either look like that or click on those buttons like that. File, Place Embedded. And find what face that you want. It's better to find a face that is front on. So you can see like this one here. He's not looking at the side. We can see just the front of his face. So when you choose a face, make sure it's a good quality photo and that we can see the whole face and that he's not looking sideways or even slightly, you know, like halfway an angle or something. So now when you place an image, it is a smart object. So we need to right click on it on the layer and go rasterize layer. That makes it a regular image. Now with your eraser, just your regular eraser tool, so I right clicked there just to make sure, eraser tool, we want it to be on 0% hardness, so that's really important, and mine's on about 158, and it needs to be, I'm going to make it a little bigger, 200 for now. And you can see I'm going to erase around his face. I don't want the hair, don't want his shoulders. And as I get closer to his features, eyes, nose, mouth, I need to make it smaller. So I'm going down to 100 or 125. And I want to erase softly the edges of his face, so around his chin and his cheek and his forehead. Something like that. Now what I don't want is for you to get a small paintbrush and do this. This is incorrect. Because although it's slightly foggy, it's still too hard. That transition is not soft enough. You see how that's not a soft transition from apple to face. It's not blended enough. So when you do it, make sure that your paintbrush starts off quite big. So mine's on 200, especially on the forehead and around here. And if you need to make it a little bit smaller, you can, but just make it a little bit smaller. You just want it like that. Okay, that looks good. With my arrow up the top tool, I can move it and position it around. Now, obviously the apple is red and his face is kind of skin colored red, beige, orange. Anyway, so we need to change the color. So Control U on your keyboard brings up hue saturation, and we can change it. Now clearly that looks funny, but it doesn't look like the right color. We need to find, so it's going too purple there, we need to find the right red tone and go OK. Now Control B on your keyboard to just make it even more red. And again, clearly, like, I don't want blue, it's going to make it purple. Maybe a little bit of magenta. OK. And then go Image Adjustments, and this is where you find hue saturation and color balance, by the way, that we just used. Brightness, contrast. We're just going to make it have a little bit more contrast and a little darker. Oop, too dark. As we're just trying to find the perfect levels. Oh, see, I need to go a bit lighter. Maybe there. Yeah, so 8. And then go OK. So that's apple face. Angry man apple face. Now, to make an even funnier version, we're going to right-click on the face layer and go Duplicate Layer, Enter, Duplicate Layer again. So you're going to have 3 copies, 1, 2, 3. Make the first copy invisible, and then the second copy invisible. Make sure you've highlighted this top copy, and get your eraser. Make it about 200 or 250, and we're going to erase the bottom. We just want the eyes. So this top one is the eyes. Now make Clint Eastwood copy the second one, make that visible, and make the top one invisible. Get the eraser tool, and now we want to erase the eyes on this one and the nose. Don't erase the mouth, so I'm making it a bit smaller now, gone down to 150 to erase the nose. And now we can make both those copies visible, except, so he doesn't have a nose, big deal, right? So now we're going to make the mouth layer, which is this one, with our arrow tool here up the top, your crossbow. I'm going to move that up. I just want to get rid of, so have a look at anything that you think looks silly. So I'm just getting rid of a little bit more of his nose. And now I'm going to right click and go merge down. So make sure you're on the top layer, merge down. So that was a right click, and now they're together. And you can sort of position that wherever you want. So I'm just going to go, I think it's a bit too bright. The idea for this is that you want to make it the exact right color so it sits on the apple and is sort of like funny and clearly could never really be real. Oops. So I've made it a bit dark and up the saturation, but that it sort of looks believable. Anyway, play around with that. And when you're done, you can see up here I've got all these shadows. So I'm going to just select that and press delete and make sure it's not on the other layer as well. And then Control D. So I've got two faces. I've got Angry Man face with a nose, Angry Man face without a nose. And you can just keep playing around with it until you're happy with it. And once you've done that, save it. Save it regularly. So save it as a Photoshop file. And then also save it as a JPEG. The first JPEG option, because that's the one I want you to send to me. You're going to send me a JPEG option because it'll flatten it. Okay, that's the first one.